step into the shadows.
Echoes of the Drain by N.A. Crossley, Chapter 2. 5 years later. It was a warm, sunny afternoon in late spring. Children streamed out of Riverview Elementary with backpacks bouncing and laughter echoing across the schoolyard. Jess stood beneath the shade of a tree, hand on her hip, watching her daughter Katie run toward her with a wide grin. "Mommy!" "Hey, Bug," Jess said with a tired smile, catching her in a hug. Katie pulled back, squinting up at her. "Did you bring snacks?" Jess opened her tote. "Apple slices and peanut butter." Katie made a face. "I meant like cookies." Jess ruffled her hair. "Nice try." They turned to walk back toward the parking lot when Katie froze. "Mom, who's that?" Jess followed her gaze. Across the street, between the parked cars and the rustling bushes near the edge of the woods, stood a figure in a white robe. Sunlight glinted off the fabric. The hood was up, casting the face in shadow. Jess blinked, her breath hitched. Empty sidewalk, gone, just like that. Her heart began to race. Her fingers tightened on Katie's hand. "Sweetie, we're gonna walk this way today, okay?" Katie didn't question it. They walked fast, Jess's eyes flicking constantly back to the trees. That night, Jess couldn't sleep. She stood by Katie's bedroom door, watching her sleep, clutching the old camping lantern in her hand like a talisman. She hadn't spoken to the others in years, not since that final night when they fled the woods and made a silent pact. Never talk about it again. But now, she went to her bedroom, opened her old laptop. It took time to boot. Dusty, forgotten. She opened a browser, search. Underground tunnels, Oregon forest, white-robed figures. Nothing. Rumors. A conspiracy thread. One blurry photo. She clicked one link. It took her to a forum. Username. Eclipse13 had posted 5 months ago. "Has anyone else seen them? I saw one near my daughter's school. It looked like me." But it wasn't. Jess stared. She hadn't written that. But someone else had. Suddenly, the hallway light flickered once, then twice, then went out. Jess stood frozen by her desk, heart pounding, the blue glow of her laptop screen casting shadows across the room. Then, her phone lit up. It buzzed once. Incoming call caller, Jess. She stared at it. No number, just her own name. Her breath caught in her throat. Then came the scream. Katie, high-pitched, raw, terrified. Jess's body moved before her brain could catch up. She vaulted across the room, phone slipping from her hand and clattering to the floor, the incoming call screen still glowing as she tore down the hallway. "Katie!" She slammed open the bedroom door. The room was bathed in moonlight. Katie's bed was empty. The closet door was wide open. "Katie!" Jess's voice cracked. From inside the closet, a flicker, not light. Movement, a ripple, like the surface of water shifting in a breeze. And then, from behind her, in Katie's voice, "Mommy?" Jess spun. Katie stood in the hallway. Her pajamas were clean, dry, her face calm, smiling. But something was off. Too calm, too still. Jess took a step back. "Katie?" The girl tilted her head to the side, and then, from inside the closet, the real Katie screamed again. Jess lunged forward and shoved the fake one aside. It didn't fall like a child. It hit the floor like something heavy, boneless, like wet rope in a sack. She didn't look. She ran into the closet. Inside was darkness, cold, deeper than it should have gone. Far at the back, far further than the wall should have been, Jess saw her daughter huddled on the floor, eyes wide with terror. Jess reached her, scooped her up, turned, and the closet had changed. Stone walls, damp air, the smell of mildew and rusted metal. It was a tunnel. The tunnel. Somewhere else, Jess ran, cradling Katie, the dim, flickering light of her phone barely enough to show the cracked concrete beneath her feet. Water dripped from above. The sound of chains echoed faintly in the distance. "I've got you," she whispered. "We're getting out. We're getting out." Then, a faint scraping sound, metal on stone, behind them. Katie whimpered. "It touched me, Mommy. It tried to be me." Jess gritted her teeth. Not anymore. I've got you. I have you. The sound behind them grew louder. Clink, scrape, clink. They turned a corner and came to a massive chamber. Her legs nearly gave out. It was the same cavern, the same platform, the same camera still faced it. But now, someone was standing on the platform, not chained, waiting. It was Jess. Another Jess. She was smiling. Jess staggered back. Katie clung to her. Which one are you? Jess didn't answer. The double stepped off the platform and spoke in her voice, calm even. One of us has to go back. Katie looked up, tears streaking her cheeks. Mom, don't let it take me. Then, the light flared behind them. A robed figure appeared at the tunnel mouth, then another, and another. A procession, stepping silently into the chamber. The false Jess's smile faded. She turned to them. She isn't ready. Not yet. The figures stopped, watching, waiting. The double Jess looked back at her real counterpart, then suddenly screamed, that same metallic, shredding sound, and collapsed into black smoke, dissolving into nothing. The robed figures didn't move. Jess turned and ran. Back home. She gasped awake on the floor of Katie's room. Sunlight poured through the window. Katie was curled up beside her, clutching her tightly. The closet door was open, empty. Jess looked down at her phone in her hand. No missed call, except one message. A video. She tapped it open. Footage of the platform. Of her, standing there on it, eyes closed, mouth moving like she was whispering something. The camera zoomed in slowly. Jess stared, breath caught. On her chest, carved faintly into the skin, were the words, "It never ends." Jess sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her phone screen. The video had ended, but she couldn't bring herself to close it. She'd watched it 5 times already, hoping, praying that the footage would change, or vanish, or reveal itself as a glitch. But it didn't. It was her, standing on the same stone platform they'd seen 5 years ago, mouth moving, silent, like she was reciting something, or practicing. Her hand trembled as she finally tapped over to her contacts. She scrolled, hesitated. Morgan. It had been almost 5 years since they'd last spoken. After that final camping night, they'd all gone their separate ways. Deliberately. Trauma had sealed their silence, but that silence had just sent her a video. She pressed call. It rang 3 times, then, hello? Jess closed her eyes in relief. Morgan, it's Jess. A pause. Jess? Morgan's voice was cautious, alert. What's going on? I know it's been a long time, but something happened last night, something with Katie and me. It's like it's starting again. Morgan was silent for a beat. Then, did she see them too? Jess inhaled sharply. You've seen something? I didn't want to believe it, Morgan said, her voice tightening. But I've been having dreams, for months, about the tunnels, and you on that platform. I thought it was guilt or PTSD or whatever. But then Eliza called me a week ago. She said she'd seen a robed figure outside her apartment in LA. Thought it was a prank until it stared at her through her window without blinking, for 10 minutes. Jess stood up. You need to come here. I'm already getting my keys. 2 hours later. Morgan arrived in a rust-colored sedan, hair pulled back into a messy bun, dark circles under her eyes. She stepped out, glanced around the quiet suburban neighborhood, and walked straight past Jess without a word, heading for the front door. Once inside, she spoke softly. Where's Katie? Watching cartoons. I told her the power went out last night. She doesn't remember everything, but she's scared. Morgan sat down at the kitchen table. Show me. Jess handed her the phone, the video queued up. Morgan watched in silence. As the camera zoomed in on the platform, her brow furrowed. Then, that mark, on your chest. I've seen it before. Jess's blood chilled. Where? Morgan dug into her tote bag, pulled out a folder of printed images. I've been collecting anything. Old tunnels, urban legends, cults tied to doppelgangers. Look at this. She spread out a photocopy of a 19th century sketch, a robed ceremony in an underground chamber, a woman bound on a stone platform, her mouth open in a silent scream. On her chest, the words, Latin this time, Numquam terminatur. It never ends, Jess whispered. The same words. Morgan nodded. It's some kind of cycle, Jess, ritual. They take people, replace them, but only when they're ready. And that double of you last night, I think it was ready. But something stopped it. Jess's hands gripped the counter. Then came a knock at the door. They froze. Jess crept to the window and peeked through the curtain. It was Carrie. She looked pale, haunted, holding something in her arms. Jess opened the door. Carrie? I didn't know where else to go, Carrie said quietly. It followed me home. Later that night, all three women sat in Jess's living room. Carrie had unwrapped the object she'd brought, a small rusted tripod camera, just like the one from the platform. I found it in my garage, she said. I don't know how it got there, but when I looked through the viewfinder, it showed a live feed from inside the tunnel. Jess exchanged a look with Morgan. I think it's calling us back, Carrie whispered. Finishing what it started, Jess leaned back, her voice low and hollow. Katie doesn't remember what happened last night, but something's in her now, watching. It let her go, but it touched her. Morgan stood. Then we go back, all of us, together. We find that place. We end this. No, Carrie said. We need Eliza too. All four of us went down. All four have to return. Jess looked toward Katie's room, then nodded. We leave tomorrow.
Subscribe for more nightmares.